everyone. Welcome back to Stay at Home episode 4. And my name is Paulina. I'm back again. You see me last week on my house, but now I'm here. I'm here with my co-host Shun.
Hi.
And if you've been to Focus long enough, you might know our guest, which is Sally. Hi, Sally.
Hi. How
So
are you,
exciting.
Sally?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
So, can you introduce yourself to us for people that you might not doesn't know who you are?
Yeah, so I my job is to work with Focus and to try and meet international students and welcome them and help them to ask big questions about life and learn more about who God is and the love that God has for them in Jesus. So that's what I do during the week.
So how are you finding lockdown so far with everything that you do?
It's been challenging. I like seeing people in person and actually like spending time with people in the flesh. So I think that I've found that a bit challenging just because it'd be nice to see people face to face. I mean, it's nice that we have technology to keep up together, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah. So how is everything going at home? What have you been doing at home?
So I've been doing some stuff in the garden. I'm growing some vegetables at the back. And I like to spend time outside and just get some sunshine and fresh air. So I've been doing some gardening, some cooking. I like cooking. I like jogging. So I've been jogging along our sort of bike track. I live with my brother and his family and their 3 little boys. So helping out with the boys a bit. So there's been plenty to do. And lots of people to keep in contact with, but yes, that's kind of some of the things I've been doing.
Is your garden growing well?
It is. I think there's some snails or something that have been eating some of the leaves of things, but generally it's going quite well. Yeah.
How long have you been at Focus?
I was trying to think. It might be 5 years or a little bit longer. I can't quite remember, but yeah, a little bit, yeah. I was trying to think. It might be 5 years or a little bit longer. I can't quite remember, but yeah, a little bit, yeah. I really enjoy it. It's great. I get to meet lots of different people from different places. So I'm really thankful that I can come along and benefit from lots of different people and different cultures. So I love Focus.
Yeah, we love you too.
I'm glad.
So, were you study at La Trobe too? And if you did, what did you study?
I did. I studied at La Trobe. I studied occupational therapy at La Trobe quite a while ago, really.
Same.
One of those people. Yeah.
I think as a Focus staff, you've been working with a lot of students, international students, local students. So when you were a student, did you join any Focus or CU events, or were you part of the members?
So when I was at uni, there wasn't a Focus group, so I just got involved with the Christian Union. So I got quite heavily involved and really enjoyed it. And it wasn't until a bit later that kind of Focus actually started up. But yeah, I love being a part of CU and getting involved, and I grew a lot. So I'm really thankful for my time at uni.
So you studied occupational therapy.
Yes.
Did you work as an OT after finishing your uni?
I did. I worked for 2 years at the Royal Melbourne Hospital, which I did really enjoy. More than I thought I would, but probably from about halfway through my studies, I started to think, I don't know if this is what I really want to do. because I'd gotten really involved in the CU and just really enjoyed kind of meeting up with people and reading the Bible with them and trying to talk with people about Jesus. So I think from even like halfway through my studies, I was starting to think that was what I was really passionate about, and that I didn't really kind of want to work full-time or long-term as an OT. So I think it was even like during my studies that I was starting to think about coming back. And so I did sort of go and do some work to get some experience in the real world, but was already planning to come back because like this is what God has given me passion to do. Yeah, well, I think God is actually good, and he doesn't just want or expect us to do hard things that we kind of don't enjoy and are just kind of a hard slog. I think he gives us all different passions, and he is actually a good God and a good father. So I'm always thankful for that.
So yeah, speaking of he is a good father, of course it's time of uncertainties. Like I think all of us just feeling anxious and like feeling like, how can we still trust God, and like how God still able to help us in these situations? What do you think?
I think ultimately we have to look to Jesus and to see that he willingly came and knew what it was like to be weak and be vulnerable, to be deserted by his friends, to be forsaken by his father. He knows what it is, like the ultimate isolation, the ultimate feeling of being alone and having, so I think ultimately we have to look to him and realise if he was willing to do that for us so that we might not be forsaken, that God might not abandon us. I think that ultimately is the thing that we need to keep going back to realise actually God does love me. Yes, these times are challenging. Yes, there's lots of struggle and things that we're experiencing, but actually God is good. He's able to work with through this. But I think the other key thing that I've been thinking about is about just being honest, both with God, but also with each other and with ourselves. And I think it's actually okay to come to God and be honest, and he wants us to, and actually tell him what we're finding hard and what we're struggling with, to actually be willing to ask him for help, and to cry out to him and just be real about how we're feeling. We don't have to pretend like we're going okay. We can actually be honest with him. And I think we need to do that with each other as well. I think, we need to just be open with people about how we're going and be willing to ask people for help, and not just to expect people to kind of realise that we're not going okay or that we need some help. Sometimes we actually need to try and take some initiative and actually say to people, look, I'm actually really struggling. Could you help me? Could you pray for me? Could you keep up with me? And I think, just being real with yourself and, actually grieving things that need to be grieved and being okay and real about things that are hard. And I think it's not helpful to just sort of go, oh, well, I should just be okay and I should just push through this. And I think, sometimes it's good and right to kind of be real that, there are different challenges and things that we might want to grieve, and not trying to sort of just push things aside, but actually being real about how we're feeling. So I think that's helpful. The other thing that I'm doing, because I've been having good and bad days, I've made a list, things to be thankful for, because there are days where I'm like, I don't like this is hard, and so I've been trying to, at different points, write down different things that I can think of to be thankful for, because I think it's easier to focus on the negative things, and I found it really helpful just writing down things to remind myself of actually the blessings that God has brought, and the fact that actually could be heaps worse, so that when I'm having a flat day, I can actually look at that and think, no, actually there are still things I can be thankful for, and God is still good. Yeah. So maybe you could write a list of like thank you things, and keep adding to it as you think of things.
Yeah, it is. Especially when most of us, we are like in focus, majority of the students are international students. So most of us are having a lot of anxiety, feeling depressed and lonely because we are all away from home. I think it is really good to catch up with people, with your friends, to talk about your life.
Yeah.
It's a very good way to cope with that emotional stress.
Yeah. I think we need to get it out and like talk about it and not just keep it all inside.
So if any of you been coming to Focus, like our usual focus before this happens, we usually start with cooking, with dinner, and one of the consistent cooker is Sally, and she cooks
I like
really,
cooking.
yeah, she cooks really good dish. So
Sorry, I
yeah,
miss your cooking.
I miss your cooking too.
So
So yeah.
soon we'll be back together again. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, can you give us your cooking tips so maybe we can recreate?
Oh, okay. So I had a slightly different idea. So like my number one, other times I could post something about some other cooking tips, but my number one, well maybe my first cooking tip I thought would be to just encourage people to try making some soup. So even if you haven't done a lot of cooking before, you can just do a really basic easy soup that you can like make a big amount of and put it in little containers and freeze it. So for lunch today, I took out my little kind of frozen soup and heated up and had some cauliflower and potato soup. So you can just like, soups are really easy. I've drawn a little thing.
Whoa.
So this is Sally's. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh.
Yeah. So all you need to make a vegetable soup is some vegetables, some water. I don't know if this is actually flat enough.
That's really cool.
Some vegetables, some water, and some seasoning. And then you just put it in a pot and you boil it till the vegetables are soft.
Yeah.
So you might like to have an onion because that adds some flavor. And any vegetables, I just get whichever vegetables that you could get a pumpkin or some, carrots or potatoes or whatever.
Pumpkin. That's a huge pumpkin.
You could just get some basic, like, stock, like just the powder, put it in the water. So your vegetables, cut up the vegetables, some stock, some water, salt and pepper. You could add things like, you could put some like miso paste for some flavor. If you don't put meat in it, you could put some lentils or some beans, just for some protein. If you like creamy soups, you could put in some coconut milk, and just basically just like heat and cook the vegetables. It's really cheap. It's healthy. You can just have it with some bread. You can put it in the freezer and have it later on. So that's my number one tip, is like, try some soup. It's good for you. It's easy. Just like boil it up in water and then it's done.
Yeah, it does sound very healthy.
Yeah.
And like, you don't have to have any skills. It's easy.
And you kind of like have a full meal. You have everything in it. So.
Yeah, you don't need to make any other dishes.
Yeah,
and you can just like put some rice vermicelli noodles with it, or like some shiitake mushrooms. Or this is like my other tip is, I have this little bag that I carry around in my backpack every day. Oh, and in my little bag, I have miso soup and the like seaweed sachet. So if I get hungry at uni, I can just have like miso soup. But if you just like get one of these miso soup things, you just like add some rice vermicelli. You can cut up some carrot. You can like break an egg in it. You can put some mushrooms, like, and just make like a glorified, miso cup of soup that's like healthy with some vegetables. Put some corn in it, or like any vegetables. So soup is a good thing. Try some soup.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Pleasure. I'll keep praying for you all. Hang in there. And if you're not going okay, please tell someone. We don't have mental telepathy. We're trying to check up on you. But please, if you need help, please message someone, call me, text me, ask people, and we really want to look after you. So please let us help you.
Yes. What Sally said is true. Call us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call us,
Yeah.
text us,
Cool.
DM us. Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thanks,
Thanks.
Sally.
Bye.